Hey, everybody. This is Lisa Nearing with another podcast episode of Life Skills 101, Life Skills for a Digital Age. This podcast is brought to you by True North Homeschool Academy. We offer K through 12, live online, dynamic, interactive classes and clubs, as well as an amazing moms membership to support you, the homeschooling family. If you have any questions about it, please go to our website, truenorthhomeschoolacademy.com. There's a chat box there, and we'd love to interact with you about our classes, clubs, and moms membership. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about career development for mental health professionals. Now, if you've heard me talk about the future of work or the future of education, you know that there are some burgeoning economies on their way in, including AI, robotics, really high-tech fields. And along with those really high-tech fields, another burgeoning economy is the empath field. What is the empath field? It has to do with any kind of vocation that has to do with caring for the person, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and that includes pastors, chiropractors, physical therapists, and counselors and psychologists. I get this question all the time. My kiddo wants to be a psychologist or a forensic psychologist or a school counselor or a social worker. What do I need to do to prepare? And I feel like I'm in really good shape to answer this question because I grew up with a therapist and a psychologist. I worked at a private graduate school for psychology for quite a while, and I have a marriage and family therapy degree, as well as having been married to a clinical psychologist for 36 years. So I've been around the field of mental health professionals really since about the time I was, my whole life, actually, now that I think about it, really since I was 8, but my dad was a pastor before that. So I've been around the empath field really literally my whole life. In our family, between my husband and I, we have an exorbitant number of psychologists, therapists, pastors, counselors, and teachers. And so this is kind of like what our family does, is we're really a big part of the empath economy. So let's talk about if your kid wants to go into the mental health professions and what does that mean, how to prepare them well, because I think a lot of people have the idea that if they just really care for people, it's going to be a really easy road to go into the mental health field. And I don't want to discourage people from going into the mental health field. We need really solid Christians going into mental health and any kind of caring profession. So I'm absolutely behind it, but it might be a little bit different as far as prep work goes than you think. So the first thing that I would encourage your kiddo to do if they're interested in going into mental health is explore the various professions in the mental health field. There are so many jobs in the mental health field, and most of them honestly are going to require a graduate degree. That means that they have to get a bachelor's degree, a 4-year degree, and then go on to either a master's or even a doctorate degree and get licensed after that. So licensing requires differ from degree to degree, and they can define what you do professionally, as well as your ability to bill for insurance reimbursement. And that's one of the things you need to be thinking about if you're going to go into the mental health field, is how are you going to get paid? So most people count on their medical insurance to pay for mental health reimbursement, and you need to make sure that your degree can actually bill for mental health reimbursement. Most mental health professionals should plan on earning at least a master's degree. Though you can get licensed in some states with a bachelor's in social work, but you're going to want to check the state that you live in because licensing requirements vary from state to state. The license that you carry will be held by the state, and you'll have to test in that state. So plan on some pre-graduation clinical hours as well as post-graduation clinical hours. And some schools are going to provide placement for pre and post clinical hours, and some don't. So that is another question that you want to ask the school that you go to. Do they help you get placements? Because if they don't, it could be very difficult to find, and or you have to pay for those placements. So, okay, let's look at some of the fields in mental health. The American Psychological Association, the APA, lists 50 subdivisions in the field of mental health. And a few of the more widely known divisions are clinical psychologists, cognitive and psycholinguistic psychologists, counseling psychologists, educational and school psychologists, experimental psychologists, geropsychologists, industrial organizational psychologists, neuropsychologists, and psychobiologists. and then psychometric and quantitative psychologists. But there's a whole bunch more. And if you go to the True North Homeschool Academy.com website, we have a book, an ebook called the Young Professional Series, if your student wants to go into the mental health professions. And I list a lot of links in there, especially regarding degrees, jobs, and licensing requirements. So if you want to know more about those things, that's a great place to start. So there's a lot of different fields in psychology and mental health, and you're going to want to kind of probably figure out where you want to land. My degree, marriage and family therapy degree, we can bill in certain states, but we have to be under the supervision of a PhD in psychology. A PhD in clinical psych can bill pretty much anywhere for reimbursement, and they can be under the supervision of another psychologist or an MD or in a clinic. So it just varies by degree and by state and all that kind of stuff. You're going to want to find out what's going on in your state and the degree. I would also say if you're really interested in going into the mental health professions, you really want to focus on developing your communication skills, because really mental health by its very nature is focused on communication skills. Therapists are required to write well, speak well, listen well, and be able to hear many unsettling and disturbing things, all while maintaining a non-anxious presence. So you're going to want to really develop your ability to write, to listen, to speak, and then think and respond on your feet, and then develop a non-anxious presence. I would also say you're going to want to focus on your research skills. So research skills will be a must for many graduate degrees in mental health, and many programs will require a master's thesis and or doctoral dissertation, sometimes both. So research will be community or program-based or original research, depending on the degree in the program. And again, for more links about that, you want to go get that Young Professional Series ebook specifically on mental health professions. I would also say you're going to want to develop personality traits necessary to succeed in the mental health field. Develop a sense of empathy. Develop listening skills, including the ability to hear and reflect back what is being said. Develop your social and communication skills. Clear boundaries for yourself, for others. How to critically think about a lot of different things. Business management. You're also going to want to develop a sense of humor, because really the mental health field is serious business. You're dealing with people's pain and honestly their sin. And it's important to know when to laugh and how to relax. I would say develop your self-reflection, because you're going to be using yourself a lot in therapy. You're going to have your brain, your body posture, your communication skills, all those things are going to be necessary to successfully provide therapy or the skills, whatever kind of field of psychology or mental health that you go into. You're going to want to learn how to take care of yourself, because you're going to be taking care of others' emotional needs, and that can be really exhausting and require that the mental health professional take really good care of themselves. And then also you want to really know how to show a genuine interest in others. If you don't generally like people and you're not interested in their stories, it's probably not a field for you, because you're going to be listening to people's stories all the time. And not only that, you're going to have to be able to discern between the true and the perception and the real and the good and all those kind of things too. I would say if you want to go into mental health, you're going to need to really learn how to strategize and take standardized test wells, because you're going to learn. If you're going to go into the mental health field, you're going to have to learn to strategize and take standardized tests well, because you're going to be taking probably several of them. The mental health field is very competitive, and some numbers show that less than 5%, and that's a conservative figure, of applicants to graduate degrees in mental health programs are accepted. In fact, when my husband was getting his his PhD in clinical psychology, less than 1% of applicants were admitted to clinical psychology programs, and that was far less than the number of people who were accepted into medical degree programs. So it's a very competitive field, and very smart people go into it. The standardized tests are often an integral part of the application process. Understanding how to strategize tests well and score well can make the difference in scholarship opportunities, as well as being accepted into the program or school of your choice. And that includes the ACT and SAT, as well as the graduate record exam, also known as the GRE, and then the GRE subject exam. So if you want to go into the mental health field, I would say be really intentional about your academic courses in high school because mental health professionals really need to have excellent study habits and appreciate the academic world, as really most jobs in the profession require a master's degree and a lot of thinking, writing, and note taking. Classes in high school should really prepare the student for a competitive academic world. I would say if you're going to go into the mental health field, you want to do dual enrollment, AP exams, even CLEP. We do offer a psychology class at True North School Academy that's a CLEP prep in psych. And I would say start there. For one, it's going to give you a really good broad overview of what psychology is and the many fields in psychology, as well as how to study for it. Not only does that class particularly provide a great introduction to psych, but it can give you the chance to earn college credit and give you a head start on your degree. Oh, don't overlook biology, because biology and psychology are twinning. So much biology has to do with psychology, and that is a burgeoning field in the world of mental health. But there's a lot of brain study in psychology. So you want to have a good understanding of biology, including cell biology, human anatomy, brain anatomy, genetics, and micro and macro evolution, because you'll hear about that in the programs one way or another, whether you agree with it or disagree with it. I would say start in high school so you can figure out where you camp on those issues and have a place to talk about it with your kids and your students. I would also say don't overlook ethics and apologetics in high school, because the social sciences are a politically loaded field. If you don't know that already, just take a look at the news. Understanding your own beliefs and convictions is going to allow you to manage a complicated field in a rapidly changing world. And the field of psychology is really under fire these days. The licensing boards are being taken to court, as well as individual therapists. So you really want to know where you stand and where the license will put you if anything happens. And, you're going to want to have malpractice insurance if you're a practicing clinician one way or another. Don't overlook writing, English, and speech. You're going to want to be able to organize and present effectively as you write and speak, because if you go on to do a thesis, you're going to have to defend it. If you do a dissertation, you're probably going to want to present it or publish it and publish it. And so you're going to have communication skills really down pat. So do as many as you can and really hone those skills in high school. Don't overlook algebra, algebra 2, and even statistics if you can take it in high school, because high school courses in algebra and stats are going to help you learn more about concepts, including independent variables, exponents, probability, and graphs. The field of psychology has a lot of statistics involved in it, especially as you move up into the graduate world and go on for a PhD or a PsyD or any of the other doctoral degrees like an EDD. Okay, so an understanding of scientific methodology. The psychology really is a science field that studies human behavior. What makes it so complex is because the studied are doing the studying, right? So if we're studying math, we're studying an objective field, but if we're studying people as a person, we're studying something that is close and near to us. So the objectivity changes and is skewed. But having a clear and reasoned understanding of the scientific method and how to use it is really vitally important, especially as students get advanced degrees. And then you're going to want to actually have some understanding of the aptitude and ability in mathematics and statistics, because some master's level programs and doctoral programs will require a clear understanding of statistical analysis, and many graduate degrees will require at least one stats class. Whew, that's a lot. So, you want to have an academic high school course of study if you can at all. If you want to go into the mental health field, I would say too, do not overlook volunteering in high school, because meaningful volunteer work can assist the student in understanding the variety of different populations that they want to serve, as well as build skills in the areas of communication, listening skills, empathy, and more. And I would suggest possibly doing some of the following: work at a crisis pregnancy center, the Y, Little League, tutoring. You can do community service, start and run a program, volunteer with a public health or service agency, or volunteer at a local hospital or mental health clinic, especially one that serves low-income patients. I would say if your student wants to go into the mental health field, spend some time with them in high school exploring mental health issues that are hot topics. And believe me, there are a lot of them. Again, it is a highly politicized industry, and you want to be aware of employment trends and political hot topics. Some of those include child rearing, sexual orientation, vivisection, the idea of evil, prejudice, diversity, and social justice, such as racism, sexism, homophobia, ageism, etc., gender and ethnicity, religion, disability, healthcare policies, and abortion and euthanasia. Again, I have links about current controversial issues in the ebook that I've listed, and it'll be in the show notes. So if you need to go find it, just go to the show notes. You're also going to want to develop skills necessary to be what is called in the industry a non-anxious presence. And what does that mean? It means you have the ability to manage your own flight or fight responses. That means keeping your cortisol issues low and under control, as well as setting clear and consistent boundaries. Those are really necessary skills. The mental health field often draws people who are naturally have a heart of mercy. And what happens when you get into that field is you realize that the needs are never ending. It's a huge burnout field and one that requires professionals to manage their own anxiety, stress, and personal family needs really, really well. You want to develop your leadership skills if you're going to go into the mental health field, because the mental health care professional must be quick thinking, a problem solver who performs well under pressure. You're going to be dealing with people from all walks of life, communicating effectively, hopefully, and being really trustworthy. So you want to join clubs and activities that will allow you to develop those skills, as well as afford you leadership opportunities, right? So you want to be able to be in a place where you can offer ideas and solutions to existing problems or create new opportunities where none have existed before. You could create your own special needs or social needs or mental health care related project. I would say as well attend local lectures, events, etc. on your area in psychology, mental health, and the social services. And again, I list some links in the ebook for you. If you can at all, I would do some networking or job shadowing. That can be a little tricky because of confidentiality and HIPAA issues relating to mental health. But if you can, join a professional organization, attend conferences, network, and participate in the community, as well as at psychological and science competitions if you can. The American Psychological Association has a student membership for both undergrad and high school students. I would say also check out the association, the American Association of Christian Counselors, and there's more. Again, I list them in the ebook for kids. And then participate in competitions and events to strengthen the need for awareness of mental health. There are writing competitions for high school psych students. There's awareness ad campaigns, essay writing contests, even film contests, etc. I list those in the ebook. You're going to want to check it out. And then last, but certainly not least, I want to talk about soft skills that will be utilized in the mental health field. For one, you're going to really want to have teamwork and collaboration skills, because if you're working in the mental health field, you're going to be working to solve personal or community-wide mental health issues. And you're going to be either working with your client or patient. You've got a team right there. You're going to be working with hopefully a group of other professionals as you brainstorm and work to find solutions and solve problems for people. And even it goes beyond that as a professional. So you want to have teamwork and collaboration skills down. You want to really develop your critical thinking skills, because the medical field requires that healthcare professionals are able to solve problems quickly, sometimes life and death situations, and you want to be able to solve them with accuracy, obviously. You need to be creative, because usually mental health issues require creative problem solving. People come to mental health professionals often because they're stuck and they want help with getting unstuck. And so that can take some real serious creativity. You're going to want to have a very well-developed work ethic, because the mental health field demands a strong work ethic, both academically and vocationally. Mental health professionals educate, encourage, and at times save lives. So their ability to triage, understand complicated and dynamic situations is imperative, because they're problem solving and creating doable plans of action specific to each client and situation. You need to have a good understanding of time and distraction management, because often shifts are long and arduous. Mental health care professionals must be able to manage their time and distractions well, so that they have built-in time to take care of themselves in downtime as well. And then flexibility and adaptability, because every case is new and unique. Mental health care professionals have to be able to be flexible, adaptable, come what may. Communication skills, we've touched on this quite a few times. Communication with patients, families, teammates, plan of action, all of these are critical communication opportunities Bedside manners count, and knowing a foreign language is often very beneficial, regardless of where you're serving. And then, last but very much not least, having leadership skills. People are looking to those in the mental health community to take leadership and offer viable solutions to their emotional needs. People are looking for the People are looking to those in the mental health community to take leadership and often offer viable solutions to their emotional needs, both long and short term. The mental health profession is a satisfying one. It can provide great opportunity and an amazing vocation for you, but it is a challenging one. So if you have any questions about this podcast or the Young Professional Series ebooks that I've mentioned, I'd love to chat with you about them. Again, my name is Lisa Nearing. This is another episode of Life Skills 101, Life Skills for a Digital Age, brought to you by True North Homeschool Academy. We offer live online self-paced classes, special needs classes, clubs, testing, academic advising, and an amazing moms membership group called The Navigators. We'd love to hear from you. If you have any questions, please reach out. Thanks again.